I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Stories, where I'll tell funny stories from my past or go on a rant in an effort to make you laugh. So before I get into the subject of this week's story, I want to talk about what inspired it. The other day, my wife was watching one of her shows on her tablet, one of her Real Housewives of some city, I don't know, I don't care. But she loves those Real Housewives shows, and on the one she was watching, I'm sitting next to her in my chair, editing videos, and I overhear one of the ladies on there say, I tell you, it was the toe that broke the camel's back. You heard me. I looked over and asked my wife to rewind it, because I wanted to make sure that I heard that right. The toe that broke the camel's back. First of all, that is not the saying. Second of all, gross. But it made me think about many times that I've heard people mess up sayings. It happens all the time. And some people do it all the time. Like, I'll admit, I've done it once or twice. I was angry at somebody, and you ever get all angry and flustered and you start saying something and forget where you were going with it? It happened to me. In the middle of kind of chewing them out, I went, you know what? Fine. You can lead a horse to water. Screw you. Like, for some reason, in the middle of saying that, my brain just shut off and went, nah, I'm not finishing this. But some people, do it all the time. Like a guy I talked about in a story video not that long ago, The Cure for AIDS. A guy that literally believed that he could ward off venereal disease with a little bit of Dawn. He did that a lot. Now, with him, it was mostly just because he was that stupid, and I don't think he knew the sayings anyways. Like, one day we were working, and this one customer went off on us because where we were working, we offered rain checks. If something was on sale, and it was out, you could get a rain check and come back and get it for the sale price. In this case, he wanted a rain check for something that wasn't on the shelf, but the problem was it wasn't on sale anymore either. And was going off because he felt we should have just made an exception because it was on sale the day before, and he missed it, and he knows which day we get our orders in, so he knows dang well that it wasn't on the shelf yesterday either. Probably wasn't, but it doesn't matter. He wasn't going to get a rain check. When he left, Mr. Dumb Zestfully Clean Guy walks over and says, he definitely ain't the brightest bulb in the egg carton. What? What cartons of eggs are you buying that have lights in them? It's a saying. No, it's not. Another time, same guy. He had just been hitting on this girl while we were working. Got her phone number, and I was kind of like, okay, good for you. Look, you got a number. You gonna take her out? To which he was telling me how he's not getting his hopes up because I'm a firm believer in you don't count your chickens until they've crossed the road. Okay, then hopefully when those chickens were eggs, you didn't put them in the same basket either. Even worse, there was this one girl I dated for a little while, and she could never get any one of these types of sayings right. These little sayings and proverbs, she messed up every single time she tried to use them. The worst part is, she tried to use them all the time. And even worse than that, she would never admit that she was wrong. Like, for example, one day she was talking about a coworker that was giving her problems at work, and had told the manager about her and told her as soon as she walks in there the next day, I swear, if this hasn't been fixed, I am sticking the fan to the roof. What? Are you going to stick the fan to the roof with the poop that hit it? It's a saying. No, that's not a saying. The saying is, the poop is going to hit the fan. Another time, she was talking about a friend of hers that she was frustrated with and said, well, you know what they say. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. It might bite you. Actually, they usually just cut it off at, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Again, she's complaining about work. She complained about work all the time to the point I constantly asked her, why do you even still work there? But this particular time, she was talking about one of her coworkers being a hypocrite and said, well, you know that old saying, people in glass houses throw stones. They probably shouldn't. I think my favorite time she did this. She's talking about her frustrations at work. The girl that she'd been complaining about, the manager, didn't do what she thought she should have done about it. And she says, hey, 2 roosters don't equal a goat. And I had to admit with that one, you got me. I have no idea where you messed up that saying. It just sounds wrong. The final one I'm going to talk about is actually my wife's favorite that I've ever told her. When I worked at the place that my wife and I met, before I met her, there was this one guy who used to come in all the time with his 3 kids and they were spoiled as hell. This guy, his kids had no self-control, and you could tell why, because the parent didn't care. Every time this guy came in, which was regularly, every one of us who was working would have the same reaction of, "Oh," because he'd literally walk in, his kids would run in behind him, and literally run all over the store. It wasn't a big store, but they would run all over it, sometimes knock things over, occasionally breaking things, and he would never say a word to his kids. He would just let them do this. The only time he would ever acknowledge his kids was after he was buying stuff. He'd yell for them to come over so they could leave. That was it. That was the only time he ever acknowledged his kids. The first manager I had working here would never do anything about it. She refused to do anything about it. No matter how many times they terrorized us. The only time she'd step in is if they actually broke something. Then she'd say something along the lines of like, "Hey, your kids broke this." And he would just kind of look at her and go, "Oh." Wouldn't even say sorry, just, "Oh." She'd never make him pay for it or nothing. Finally, she left and we got a new store manager, and he did say something about it the very first time he saw it. "Sir, if you're going to let your kids run around like this, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This is a business, and I'm sorry, but they need to be a little bit more respectful." Perfect thing to say. We were all hoping that he would get offended and get kicked out, but he didn't, because he didn't care about anything. He just went, "Oh, okay. Hey, kids, quit running around like chickens with mullets." Mullets? We stopped chopping their heads off and just gave them mullets? I gotta say, I think the other way is a little bit more humane. So that's my story video this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me about some other times that you heard weird, ridiculous sayings. Love you guys.